Good morning, everyone. Today is Sunday, April 13th, and today is Group A guesstimate video where we put our numbers together and get our best guess to see what the various funds from YieldMax, what we think they're going to pay on declaration date, or what we think they're going to declare on declaration date coming up this week. And obviously on top, Group A and the weekly payers, which, they pay every single week. So for this week, since, again, we're talking about Group A, we're talking about April, the declaration date does fall on April 16th still. I was thinking it would fall, one day earlier, because as you know, the market is closed on Friday, Good Friday. So, we kind of miss a day there. But it looks like Wednesday, I believe Wednesday's the 16th, and then ex-dividend date will be the Thursday, the 17th. So no change there, except when you scroll over to the payment date, obviously there's a delay there. So that would be done on the 21st. So you're going to have to wait a little longer to get paid on this week, which, oh well, we'll have to survive, right? And so if you're wondering who's in Group A, YieldMax website obviously has all this information, and it's on my spreadsheet, of course. But here they are: TSLY, Crash, GUI, YBIT, OARK, ZOMO, SNOI, TSMY, and then they have this FEAT and FIVY thing, which honestly I haven't really even been tracking them to see how they've been doing, but I'm sure not well. Again, the market's been freaking nuts. And then the weeklies, they got the YMAX, the YMAG, LFGY, GPTY, SDTY, RDTY, QDTY, ULTI, and Shippy, which is the newest one, of course, which I don't know if they're going to pay, but I do have a guesstimate for them. All right, so that's the schedule. And then obviously, real quick, the famous question is, when do I have to buy in order to qualify for the distribution? Well, ex-dividend date is your key date. You have to buy it before ex-dividend date. It has to be a trading day before the ex-dividend date. So ex-dividend date is April 17th. If you buy it on the 16th and you hold it until the 17th, you will qualify for the distribution. Even if you sell it on the 17th, you'll still qualify for that distribution. But keep in mind, on the 17th, the fund will drop by the amount of the distribution, right? Not exactly, because you're going to see movement in the underlying, but it will at least drop by the amount of the distribution, because the cash has to come from somewhere, right? So it's coming from the holdings, and obviously the holdings makes up the net asset value total, which reflects the price of these ETFs. So I just wanted to answer that question. So in case people, start commenting that down below. All right, now let's get to the fun guesstimates, right? Is it fun? I don't know. You guys tell me. All right, so Group A is at the top. I have weeklies 8. So basically I'm showing this is the 8th cycle for the 4-week kind of cycle thing. So let's see, and let's pull up. I want to pull up the last, maybe the last 2. There you go. That's good. All right, so TSLY's at the top as usual. Now, real quick, I do have a different file where I did start tracking group value. Now, what this is basically I took all of the intraday trades right here. This is all the trade data. I don't know, it's all on the top, but whatever. Since the last declaration date, which was March 19th, and obviously I pulled up every single trade for all of these funds until then and did a pivot table, and it picked up income and outgo, essentially. So what you see here, Crash, if you see a negative, that's, again, my formulas, I know people hate them, but my negative is income, because I reflect it kind of like how the brokerage reflects options income. You get a credit, you make money. So Crash made $13.7 million, which I was honestly shocked, because They only have 3.8 million outstanding shares. So this is showing that they made 362 per share. Again, it doesn't look accurate to me, but that's what it's showing. All right. I'm not sure. Again, maybe I screwed up. Who the hell knows? But it's essentially automated through a pivot table, so it should be right. But we just have to keep that in mind. So the ones that have information, these are the ones that have income. I do have TSLY. Regardless, they don't have income. They have a loss. But again, that's the one I track daily, so that's why it's on there. So any notables here that anything crazy would stick out. Obviously, Crash sticks out. They made 362 per share. TSMY made 46 cents per share. That's nothing really outstanding there. YBIT made 3 cents, so that doesn't do anything for me. OARK made a penny. That doesn't do anything for me. And like I said, TSLY did not make money. That's why they're positive value. So Crash is really the only one that made a little noise. Again, TSMY, that amount is not really enough to change what we're doing. So again, if we go to, let's focus on Crash right now. Again, they made 362. If I go back here, Crash is on the bottom right here, right? They paid 38 cents the last time, and then they paid 64. So I'm like, what the hell? I can't give them $3. I can't even give them $2. I can't even give them $1. So, and then I'm scrolling over here and look at this. Last X date, they were 772 and they only went to 720. So clearly there may be some losses that are unrecognized, just on paper at the moment. So again, that's something I need to keep in mind when doing the guesstimate. So sadly enough, I can't really use that $3 like I want to help, boost it up. But I do want to give them over 100% distribution rate. And Crash, again, I'm going out of order here, but Crash, I want to give them 71 cents. That's 128% guesstimate yield. So is it accurate? Who the hell knows? But that's kind of like what I had. And again, TSMY, as we saw, they made about 40-something cents. So again, that's not really going to change what their guesstimate is. But anyway, that's kind of just how I wanted to explain what I'm doing with that group value. So you guys know it. Yes, the idea is once we have like a big ass recovery and we start making bank on the synthetics, at least I'll be able to have an idea. Okay, this fund made this much per share, so they're probably going to pay out a little more than usual. Obviously that didn't happen this time. Crash, it did, assuming the data's right. But don't be, I would not be surprised if Crash comes up with an over dollar payment. They could do that. But looking at the price, my guess is they will not. But, what the hell do I know? It's freezing in here. What the hell? Hold on. Let me zipper. Birds are out, though. That's good, right? It's been raining nonstop in this freaking place. All right, anyway, let's talk about TSLY. TSLY, again, no income. If I scroll to the right, gains per share, 60 cents. Okay, yeah, that's great, but it's really nothing. So last two payments, 57 cents, 46 cents. What the hell are they going to pay? Well, their IV is 83%. So, to keep it boring, I'm going to give them their IV. I'm going to give them an 84% IV, which is a 54-cent payment, okay? 54 cents. Reasonable. It's greater than the last payment, so I think people would be happy, for that reason, right? If we get paid more than the last payment, it's a good thing. So my guesstimate yield, or my guesstimate payment for TSLY is 54 cents with an 84% yield. All right, up next is OARK. OARK, the last two payments for 42 cents and 32 cents. Their IV is 62%. Again, keeping it boring. I'm going to give them the same guesstimate yield, which is a 35-cent payment, which is 3 cents greater than the last payment. So let's keep an eye out for that. Why is this guesstimate accuracy still coming up? This would be for, it has to compare against a V, right? All right, I'll fix that later. Who cares about that right now? All right, so let's go on to GUI. GUI, their last two payments were 38 cents and 32 cents. And like I said, I'm sticking with the IV strategy. Their IV was 45%. So if you look at approximately a 45% yield, you're looking at a 42-cent payment. That's 10 cents more than the last payment, which, that it made me hesitate a little. But you know what? Hey, we've been slightly on the up and up lately. Slightly. I mean, I know the implied volatility's been higher, so maybe they've been getting some more juicy premiums, as they say. So let's hope for the best there. This one was tough too. Look at their last two payments. Zomo paid 25 cents and then 29 cents. I mean, how the hell are they going to pay 41 cents, right? Let's see the stock price. The ETF price. It's $12.99. Like, it's hard to imagine 41-cent payment, right? I mean, it really is. In fact, I'm going to lower it. I'm going to give them 38 cents. Sorry, guys. I'm just, I was plugging in. In fact, I woke up this morning. I'm like, all right, I did everything last night, and I didn't do anything. I only did the weeklies. I didn't do the Group A. So I'm like, all right, I got to plug these in. So I did it this morning. So yeah, we'll give Zomo a 38-cent distribution payment. Still about 9 cents greater than the last month. So that's good. That's good, man. All right, 38% yield. All right, up next is YBIT. Kind of a letdown fund, in my opinion. Like, YBIT's supposed to be the crypto fund, the Bitcoin fund. But I look at Misty as the real crypto fund. But anyway, YBIT, 55 cents was their, weekly 6, and then weekly 7, 43 cents. So their last two payments, 55 cents and 43 cents. So their IV is 57%. I gave them a 58% yield, which would be a 45-cent payment, 2 cents greater than the last payment. Up next is SNOY. They had 92-cent payment and then an 81-cent payment. This one's going to be a letdown. I mean, their IV is 54%. I gave them a 3% boost, a 57% yield, which would reflect a 65-cent payment. T to the S to the M to the Y, 60 cents and 57 cents. Those were the last two payments that they made. Their IV is 54%. So, yeah, that's what I gave them. Their guesstimate yield is 54%. That would reflect a 59-cent payment, which is 2 cents greater than the last one. We talked about Crash, but Crash's last two payments, again, 38 cents, 64 cents. It's going to be higher, 71 cents. And, again, don't be surprised if I'm way off on that and they do pay much more, because you saw how much income they made. But, they had a lot of losses throughout the year. So, you got to keep that into consideration. They don't have to pay out all that income because they did lose plenty of money, because you could see the price is at $7.20. So, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. But I think 128% yield, I think that's pretty respectable, to be honest. So, a 71-cent payment. If you own Crash, you would probably, my guess, is be happy with that number. All right, up next is your smelly-ass FEAT, FEAT and FIVY. Now, FEAT and FIVY, this, I don't think, I never got an answer from Jay on this, actually. But they paid around the same amount last time. Again, very, very unusual, right? Because FEAT and FIVY, they do two different things, right? FEAT, they own the YieldMax fund, and FIVY, they own the YieldMax fund and the underlying, right? So that's two different things, two different strategies. So FIVY, you would expect, since they own the underlying, I believe 40% would be underlying, and then approximately 60% would be the YieldMax funds. So since FEAT is 100% YieldMax funds, and FIVY is 60% YieldMax funds, and they're around the same price, right? What's their current price? $35. You would expect that FEAT would be a higher payment. But last 4-week cycle, they were pretty much the same distribution payment. So again, my guess is that was a screw up. That's just my opinion. I do not know that for sure. That's just my guess. So I'm going to ignore the fact that they paid around the same amount and not, assume that's going to be the same this cycle around. All right. So let's get to the FEAT tab. Let's look at FEAT first, because I know you guys have some smelly ass feet. So let's get to it. What the hell do they own, right? Well, you know, they own these bums. They own Apple, they own FIVY, JPMO, Netflix, and YBIT. They're not bums. I'm just messing around. All right. And here's their underlyings: Apple, Meta, JP Morgan, Netflix, and IBIT. So the implied volatility is reflected for all of those, which, you know, it's in the 40s and 50s. They average to be about 52% IV. Which, if you take that, you multiply that by the amount that the fund is worth and divide it by 13 payments, you get $1.41. So that would be essentially the FEAT estimate payment. However, I will take into consideration, I will use a multiplier and say, well, they're probably going to pay a little less based on nothing, of course. You know, just based on history, from what I can tell, it's always lower. I don't know. It's not always lower, but it's mostly lower than it is higher. So I'm going to give them a 90% multiplier and give them $1.26 payment. I didn't even look at the guesstimate yield, to be honest. Well, the guesstimate yield reflects 47%, which is still, I think that's pretty good, right? Maybe not. Well, you know, again, you saw the average IV, but, you know, it is what it is. All right. All right. Moving on to FIVY. All right, here's FIVY. Now, FIVY's, again, it's a little different fund. What they do is they own the YieldMax fund, right? There's 5 of them, and they own the underlying. So they own Apple, they own Apple, they own, you know, FIVY, they own Meta, they own Netflix, they own Netflix. You know, for the most part, that's what they do. So what I do is, I still just take the implied volatility of the underlying. I get the average, 52%, right? And then I get that same dollar in, $1.42. However, the only difference is I take this. This is 58%. What does that represent? Well, it basically adds up the blue up here, and it tells me what percent is YieldMax funds. So they are approximately 58% YieldMax funds. So obviously I'm going to base the yield on that, because the underlyings, they don't really pay a dividend. You know, well, actually BITO does, and Apple does, and JP Morgan do. Well, most of them pay a dividend, but, you know, BITO is the only one that actually has a high, you know, a dividend that would matter, you know. So, which honestly, I could keep that into consideration, you know, when trying to calculate this, honestly. So maybe I'll take out the multiplier. But I did have 83 cents, which is, you know, 142 times the 58% multiplier, okay? So 83 cents right there. So let's go back here. Yeah, so I had the multiplier. Again, so it's 74 cents. And they gave 70 cents last. It's still a raise, so yeah, I'm not changing it. I'm leaving it. So this is going to be a 74-cent guesstimate, which makes the yield pretty low, to be honest, 27% yield. And I know it's not that attractive, but it is what it is, man. What can I tell you? But all right, so that's Group A, and then we go down further, and then we got the weeklies. All right, so weeklies are a little, you know, I mean, who cares, right? They pay every week. Does it really matter? Do you guys give a crap about the guesstimates on the weeklies? You let me know, all right? But I'll continue doing it for now. All right, so let me look at what YieldMax paid, because, again, I combined their payments into the week bucket. So far, they paid a payment related to the Group A payment. That was 13 cents. They made a payment related to the Group B payment, which is 17 cents. And then they made a payment related to the Group C payment, and that was 12 cents. Group D just paid last week. They will make that payment that they got from all that money. They will make that payment next week. So that being said, my guesstimate is reflecting 13 cents. Where does that pull from? Well, it goes over here to Group D. It takes essentially the average yield that was paid out, and it comes up to about 14 cents. You will see I have a multiplier about, 90%. I'm taking 10% off the top, and I'm coming out with a distribution, a guesstimate of 13 cents, which is a 52% yield. So that's pretty good if you ask me. That's for YMax. For YMag, same thing. Use the 90% multiplier. I got a 10 cent at guesstimate, which is a 36% guesstimate yield on that one. So yeah, we'll see though. We'll see. Their last payment, what was their last payment? 9 cents. Their last three were 8, 9, 9. So 10 cents is a little higher. So yeah, that could be off, but who cares? All right, LFGY is next. LFGY, as you know, I pretty much just put the holdings up just to show you, okay, hey, what are they holding now? It's pretty much all the same crap. It's a bunch of crypto stuff, You got your little GameStop in there. Yeah, they're crypto. You still got Oprah, your favorite person there. Cash, always just hanging around there. I keep having to delete it, so bye-bye Cash. And our average IV for the LFGY funds is, wow, holy crap, 95%. That's nice. Guesstimate payment based on that is 64 cents. All right, so if we go back to the file, where are we at? LFGY. So this one I used an 80% multiplier, which decreased it. It took 20% off the top because look at the last payment, man, 41 cents. The last three payments, 47, 41, 41. How in the hell, again, I don't know, maybe I should change the multiplier to decrease it a little more. 76%, yeah, man, I don't know. Let's see what LFGY price is at. It's at 34. I'm leaving it, man. I don't give a crap. I mean, we've been super volatile lately, so they've probably been making more premium as of late. So let's go with it. Let's do it. Who gives a crap if we're wrong, right? Anyway, that's LFGY, 51 cents, 76% yield. All right, GPTY, same thing. I got all the funds if you guys care. This is a little more stable. Amazon, Apple, IBM, Meta, yeah. All right, so you take that, you get the average IV, 62%. That comes up to a payment of 45 cents, all right? Of course, I'm going to shrink it a little bit, and I shrunk it down to 36 cents with using an 80% multiplier. Well, again, look at their last three payments, 27 cents, 26 cents, 23 cents. Like, how in the hell can it be 36 cents? I don't know. Again, it's super volatile, higher premiums. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm going to leave it. I mean, what am I supposed to do? A 60% multiplier here? Maybe. I don't know. Again, there's something I have to keep in mind. Like if I'm way off and they pay way less, I just have to remember. I'll have to make a note somewhere, even though I keep forgetting. But anyway, my guesstimate for them is a 36-cent payment. That's a 49% guesstimate yield right there, sucker. All right, SDTY, QDTY, and RDTY. These, I kind of just bunch them together. But for them, I take, the index IV essentially, right? And then I multiply it by the price of the ETF and I divide it by 52 payments. For these, I'm using a 90% multiplier, except for RDTY because I thought it was honestly too low. So if you look at SDTY, their last payment was 22 cents. 23 cents is kind of in line, so that's good. QDTY, their last payment was 21 cents. I'm going to give them a 24-cent payment. And then RDTY, their last payment was 35. And this is actually coming out with a lesser payment of 31 cents. But the Russell, Russell 2000 has been struggling. So we'll see if that's right. So the numbers are 23 cents on SDTY. That's a 29% guesstimate yield. QDTY, 24 cents, 32% guesstimate yield. And then we got RDTY, 31 cents, 38% guesstimate yield. All right, moving on, we got our friend Ulti. Again, Ulti is a weekly payer. Not really sure why they did that, but they did. Ulti, I plan on moving to my weekly paying car fund, right? The fund that basically pays the majority of my bills outside of the mortgage. So I'm going to move Ulti there because, again, that's basically a whole bunch of weekly payers that I'm trusting with my money that they're going to make me money and they could pay my bills. All right. And at the long term, that's their job. Just put my money there, pay my freaking bills. Just stay afloat forever. All right. Until I croak. Can you do that? Can you manage that? Should I add Ulti to that party? We'll see. All right. So what the heck does Ulti own? They own Amazon. They own Amazon. That's weird, right? Amazon? Well, Amazon is volatile right now, 51%. That's pretty cool. Alibaba, Chewy. Hey, Chewy. Chewy and GameStop, what do they have in common? Do you know? All right, so MicroStrategy. Hey, you can never have enough MicroStrategy. Even though it's called strategy, Google, get with it. Get with the program. Palantir, yeah. Reddit. Oh, I love Reddit. Super Microcomputer, TQQQ. Tesla, Upstart, Vistra, blah, 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 blah. All right. Here's the average implied volatility for Ulti. Pretty sweet, 92%. Payment based on that is 10 cents. All right. So we go back here. Of course, I use a multiplier, and 90% multiplier, making it a 9-cent payment. Their last payment was 8 cents. Their 2 payments before that were 9 cents. So 9, 9, 8, and then I'm going to go with 9 in your face, 9 cents, 83% guesstimate yield. All right. Last but not least, we got Chippy. I don't even know. Chippy, are they going to pay? When the hell did you launch? 4-3. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Let's just assume they're going to pay. So what did I do here? Well, of course, their price is not updating, but their price as of the close on Friday, I believe, was $46.29. So I took that, I multiplied it by the average implied IV, which is located here. All right. So they have all these funds. They got all this chippity dippity funds, which, by the way, they're not part of the freaking tariffs now. What? Say what? So Monday, man. Oh, yeah. Green. Show me the green. My NVDX cover calls not looking good. But whatever. Bye-bye. See you later. But yeah, man, they're chippity-doo-dah. So this fund should do well on Monday if they're not getting tariffed, right? They're not part of the tariff. But anyway, their average IV on the chippity-doo-dahs is 69%. That's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. All right, so let's go over here. And we take that IV, right? So it's 46.29 times that IV divided by 52. I'm not using a freaking multiplier because this is their first payment. Let's just let it be. 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 Sorry, guys. I have my voice back. Now I'm getting my voice back. I freaking have my voice back. Finally. The Rock. All right, sorry. Let's move on. So that's it, though. Actually, we're done. We are done with the guesstimates. Now, Group D declared, right? They declared. We kind of covered that in one of the daily videos. But, this is really the video where we talk about everything. Was there any surprises? Let's see. Well, Misty, yeah, they kind of paid what they paid last time. That's what people care about. Remember, my guesstimate for Misty was $1.80 something, but that was at the time they had a lot of synthetic income, approximately over $2 per share. And then they took a hit on the synthetic. So that kind of lowered what, the expectation of payment, which is okay. So honestly, them paying $1.33, I'm perfectly fine with it. I mean, it sucks that it's this low because we've seen $4 and we want $4 again, but we're just not there yet. Bitcoin's not there yet. Bitcoin's just chilling in the 80K range. It needs to move above 100K to get, we need to get, some crazy distributions. We need Bitcoin to go boom, like bam, So anyway, that was for Misty, right now it shows 87% yield. SimSy, though, 106% yield. So they had a higher payment than Misty, so they did beat Misty, by the way. Who won last week? SimSy won that one. SimSy won. Wow, SimSy's been whooping ass all the way on 5 to 7 so far, 5, 6, and 7. So good stuff, man. So anyway, I wanted to let you know the house money. So how much have these funds paid out as compared to their inception launch price, right? So if you bought Aptly from inception, you would have gotten 42% of your money back, right? And Aptly, right, their launch price was what, 20 bucks. Their current price is 13. All right, so that's okay. Again, you got 42% of your money back, but yeah, it's gone down. It is what it is. And like AMZ, again, most of these funds at the time, they launched at 20. Now they're launching at 50. AMZ launched at $20.10. They paid back 65% of their original, price. That's pretty freaking awesome. Their current price is even better, so they're better than Aptly, man. They're 15 bucks. So they've really only gone down $5. And to be honest, this is only as of late, as of this massive market freaking sell-off, man. It's like, and it's holding up pretty strong. So AMZ, again, very, very good fund. What about Disso, right? Disso, do we Disso too much? Maybe. Their launch price was $20.15. Their house money percent is showing 45%. So they almost pay back 50%. Their current price right here, 12.12. Not doing as well as AMZ, but still not terrible. Not even close to reverse split status. I know people love to use when the reverse split. When is it going to reverse split? All these funds do is reverse split. Well, really? Because only one had a reverse split. So, that's not true at all. All right, XYZY. Again, I hate this stupid ticker. But it is what it is, man. They paid back 80%. 80% of their original freaking payment. The problem with this one, though, their current price is $10. So, yeah, they kind of got cut in half. But still, they paid 80% of the original investment. AIYY, I mean, this fund is struggling for sure. But they did pay 49% of their original investment. However, they're at $4. So, yeah, there's that. MSTY, there's nothing more to say than they are the GOAT. They are the GOAT, right? Now, the GOAT, why are they the GOAT? Well, what they launch at? Well, $20.38. So if you bought at $20.38 and you held it until now, well, you the man, or you the woman, right? Because you got 169% of your freaking money back. Holy crap. Their current price, $19.88. Are you kidding me? They pretty much did not move in price, and they paid you back your original investment and then some. They are going to hit 200% house money. We will have to throw a party on that day, right? All right, so anyway, SMCY, how are they doing? Well, they paid back 34%. That's pretty good. They just launched this September. And you got to keep in mind, it would be much better if SMCI didn't screw up their freaking with their auditors and all that jazz. Man, this fund would be so much better. But at the same time, their implied volatility is so high because of that reason. So we have to keep that in mind. YQQQ, they paid back 15%. But again, that's an inverse fund, which, I don't really talk about them too much. I do add them because I know people do invest in them. And then Winter, they didn't pay anything yet. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Okay. Now, Group A is the one that pays this week. Do we have anything that's close to 100% house money? No. TSLY is the closest. They paid back 79% of their original launch price. Now, why is it taking them so long? Well, it's because they sucked in the beginning. It's not that they sucked, really. It's Tesla. It's how Tesla was. They were pretty much at the highs, and they kind of went down with Tesla. So it's been a struggle. And then they had the reverse split. They're the only fund that really reverse split. So it is what it is, but still, they're going to pay out. They're going to get to the point where it's 100%, and that's going to be pretty cool. But again, they are the flagship fund. They are the reason YieldMax is here. TSLY and, of course, OARK, they both launched on the same date, which was, by the way, November 22nd, 2022. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Any other notables? Well, YBIT could be at 50% maybe. SNOI could be at 50%. We'll see. But TSLY and OARK are the highest. TSLY at 79% house money, and then OARK at 62% house money. House money. All right. Sound good? Great. Wonderful. Yippee-ki-yay. yeah, so that's pretty much it. We'll just leave it there. I'll just do a quick recap on my guesstimates, and we'll close it out. All right, so let's talk about the guesstimates. We'll go down the line really quick. All right, TSLY, 54 cents, 84% yield. OARK, 35 cents, 62% yield. GUI, 42 cents, 45% yield. Zomo, 38 cents, 38% yield. YBIT, 45 cents, 58% yield. SNOY, 65 cents, 57% yield. TSMY, or T to the S to the M to the Y, 59 cents, 54% yield. The longer the video goes on, the weirder I get, so I apologize. Crash, 71 cents, 128% yield. Do you believe it? It's got to be over 100% for sure. All right. FEAT, $1.26, 47% yield. And FIVY, 74 cents, 27% yield. All right, now we got the weekly suckers. Are you ready? Are you ready? All right, YieldMax, 13 cents, 52% yield. YMAG, 10 cents, 36% yield. LFGY, 51 cents, 76% yield. GPTY, 36 cents, 49% yield. SDTY, 23 cents, 29% yield. QDTY, 24 cents, 32% yield. RDTY, 31 cents, 38% yield. OLT, 9 cents, 83% yield. And Chippy, Chippity doodah, chippity day, chip, chip, chip. What a wonderful day. 62 cents. Yield doesn't work because the freaking price is not updating, so I don't care. 62 cents. That's all you're getting for that. All right, guys. That's the guesstimates. That's it. That's all, folks. So, as always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, and this video is for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you were entertained, and if not, guess what? There's always tomorrow. All right, so we got tomorrow, so don't worry about that. If you did enjoy this content, please hit the like button, all right? It's a little thumbs up thing. You just hit it once. That's it, or 3 times, or 5 times, or 7 times, but it'll only register as once. All right, sound good? All right, great. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them down in the comments below. Outside of that, I'm done yip-yapping. I'm done annoying everyone. I'm done. I'm cutting this video. And I got to get my ass to the gym for sure, all right? Because you got to go to the gym. Because that's it, right? You got to do the guesstimate video. You got to go to the gym. That's life, right? Guesstimate and gym. All right, guys. That being said, we got to come up with a freaking keyword now. Didn't even think about that. So the keyword is, I don't know. What's the keyword? Let's think. All right. Should we have crash guesstimates? Yeah, let's have fun. Let's have you guess what Crash is going to pay. I know we never show any love to the inverses, but I just can't believe it, right? Again, let's go back one more time. Crash produced, per my numbers, assuming they didn't screw up, $3.62 per share, all right? My lowballing guesstimate shows 71 cents. So today, the key word is, what the hell is Crash paying? All right? What are they paying? Are they paying 71 cents? Are they paying $3, $2, $1? Type it down below if you have an opinion on it. If you don't have an opinion on it, then guess what you have to type? Chippity-doo-dah, chippity-day, chip, chip, chip. What a wonderful day. All right? So those are your options. You know, pick your poison. Anyway, I'll end it there. And yeah, that's it. Pretty simple stuff, right? I just want to say, guys, thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend, or enjoy your week if you're watching it on good old Monday or Tuesday, of course. Or if you watch it even after that date, then you're even more awesome, because obviously they would have declared by that point. That's the problem with my videos. They get stale after a day or two. You know, they're only good for a day or two, which means, you know, it's like, all right, you know, so if they don't do good in the beginning, that's it. They're freaking useless. So I got to come up with, down the road, some evergreen content, some content that's good forever, right? Some series, some training, some stuff, right? Anyway, I'm out of here. I'm done yip yapping. And again, thank you for watching and have a great day, everybody.